Hey Krit, it's Jim. Hey, I hope you're doing really well. Hope you're having a really great Monday. I wanted to make this video for you to see if I could just offer some insight and just some feedback for you. So when I make these, I really like to make them just shooting from the hip and based on first impressions that I see. It tends to be the most genuine, organic way to look at a site. And I know that sometimes it's really hard to see the trees for the forest, when we're running our businesses, because it's difficult to see the details that need to be changed when we're working on big picture things. So yeah, let's get to it. So you may have seen this if you're watching the other videos that I've done, review videos. You may have heard me talk about this, but the area before the fold, meaning before I have to scroll, is the most important real estate on your website. That's absolutely critical. When someone visits your site, within just a few seconds, you need to convey to them what you're all about and if it's a good fit for them. So they first need to understand, is this for me? Or I'm sorry, what is this about? And then, is it for me? Is this what I'm looking for? So you've got to convey that before the fold. And you can kind of get an idea of how well you're doing this by looking at your Google Analytics data, especially with the amount of traffic you have. I mean, 5,000 uniques a month is really good. That's really good. So look at it. So see how quickly people bounce from your site. How long are they on your site on average? Do you have a high percentage of people that are bouncing from your site within 5-10 seconds? And then also, once they're on your site, are they looking around at other pages on your site, or are they leaving after looking at just the home page? Okay, so as I look at your site, these are very attractive. The journals, I assume they're journals. I haven't looked in detail because I wanted to just make an initial first impression. But yeah, okay, so you can tell here that they're journals. So the idea of these slider images is really great. I've got mixed feelings about them. In some ways it's great that you can share several different pictures, but in others it's not so good because you don't really control which one they see when they land on it. And you're trying to convey a lot of information here. Free shipping, that's great to share, but you share that up here already. So I like this. So inspired accessories for inspiring work. So not only do you need an image that shows what you do, you also need to have copy that says what you do. So rather than accessories, I would write something like journals, inspired journals, or handcrafted journals, or one-of-a-kind unique journals, something like that for inspired work. I mean, in the word inspired, I mean, like, you're really connecting with what the reason is people buy. So it's more than just a journal. Like if I wanted to write something down in a journal, I go to Walmart and buy a cheap journal. There's something about this that conveys quality. It says, hey, I'm important, thus I have a really high quality journal. I mean, there's something about that. Like, you need to capture the emotions behind why people are making these purchases, why they're buying from you, and why are they willing to pay more for your journal than they would be to just go to Walmart. What are they feeling? What is that conveying? Understand those emotions and get really clear on that, and then use those powerful emotional words to sell your products. But definitely having something in this main area that conveys what you do is super important. It's great to suggest gifts, but I would do that later on. In your situation, I would lean towards using, this is one of my favorite, this is probably my favorite image of what you have. So I would use this image and convey here in text, have one static image, what it is that you do. Think of those emotional words, make that connection, and make it really clear, first of all, on a really elementary level, what it is that you offer. I know it seems really obvious with the picture, but there needs to be words as well. Okay, so enough on that. Let's move down. And by the way, the imagery is top-notch, really high quality. It really conveys quality, and the design is nice as well. So I don't mean to be critical. I just want to point out a few of those details. All right, quote journals. Man, this is nice. Really, really nice. Okay, let's click on this one. $38. That's a very fair price, too. Handmade leather journal. Wow. Interesting. Great images. I would like to see one here with the page open. I'm just curious to see what the page actually looks like. So adding an image with a page open would be really great. Okay, let me read these. I actually love that these are out of stock because it conveys social proof that, oh, these are popular. I need to get mine now because they're running out. Okay. Yeah, okay, so in this area, you're explaining the specifications of the product. Paper is tree-free and environmentally friendly. Journal size, 85 pages, unlined blank paper. That's all important to know. But this is prime real estate to be able to convey those emotions behind people are why people buy. And consider a story. Like I read an article recently. I don't know where it was at, but it talked about how people did an experiment. They bought some like random stuff to sell on eBay, and this is unethical. So I'm not saying you should do this, but it's just interesting. It conveys my point. So they buy matching things on eBay. One person just simply lists it and lists a description of what it is and lists it for sale. And the other person writes a compelling story. This was very special to my great-grandfather who worked in and he passed away. And every day he would look at this item and he would do this and this. It conveyed emotions. Those items that conveyed emotions sold for many multiples of what the items that didn't. So it captivates the power of story. And in your niche, it's incredibly relevant because that's what you're selling. You're selling journals. So figure out what those things are and convey that. Maybe write a story. Imagine, draw a scene. You're sitting with your warm coffee. You can see the dew of the morning out on the grass and all these things, right? Convey these emotions. What are you feeling? So I get up in the morning and journal, and there's a certain peace about the early morning that is, it's really intoxicating, that peace and warm coffee and just sitting down with me and my thoughts and writing and there's emotions that come to mind that if you can work really hard to captivate those and include that copy on your page here, I think you're going to see a big difference in your sales. All right. Well, not that you apparently you can't even keep up with the product in stock. So that's a good problem to have. But once you get that figured out, I think that'll make a big difference in your sales to have those details. And so it's great that you have reviews here. That's the next thing I was going to mention. That's huge. So as many reviews as you can get here, the better. So it's good that you're well on your way there. Okay, let me just take a quick click here. And you have really great quality stuff. So the advice that I just gave you would be the same on all of the different products. It needs to be slightly different copy depending on, if it's enough of a different product. But, to start, you can just have it even just the same, right? It would be better to do that than not have it at all. Okay, so let me go back. That's the quotes collection, Zodiac journals. That's cool. All right. So I guess I'm wondering, my first thought is what's the difference in a Zodiac journal versus the quotes journal? Does the quotes journal have quotes in it? Does this have information on Taurus? I don't really, it leaves me wondering. And also, can you control these reviews? I don't know if that's possible or not with what you're using, but it'd be nice if you could kind of control some of the reviews on what is shown and what is prioritized. I get that you just have one here, but so does the most recent view show up higher? I'm not sure how that works with what you're using here. But I know there's different applications out there in the App Store for reviews. So otherwise the advice I gave you is the same for the compelling story and put the reader there, in those emotions, what they're feeling with the journal. It seems hokey, but it definitely will work. Instagram, that's great. It's good that you're focusing on that. Instagram is huge. In my mind, your focus could be kind of along the lines of sort of self-help. I'm thinking about, again, what people do with their journal and then appeal to those emotions. Yeah, good reviews here. That's great. Social proof, that's awesome. As seen in. Yeah, I would even put that higher on the page. Maybe even right here. Because that's really powerful. Really good social proof. All right, so let's look at your About Us page. You About Us. Okay, give me 1 second. Krit. So the first thing that comes to mind is people do business with people, not with businesses. And I want to know who's behind this. So I would love to see a smiling picture of you, no sunglasses, just a picture that connects with people, close up of your face, or you sitting there with the journal. That would be even better, right? Just in other words, a fairly close-up shot that people can connect with you emotionally. They can see your face. They can see, what it is that you do. They make a connection, and that helps build trust and credibility. And it conveys the message that, look, this business is important to me. I stand behind my brand and my products, and I'm going to, support what it is that I sell. And I would also move this up. This looks like the padding's a little bit off, so that needs to be moved up a little bit. But yeah, this will be a great place to just have a picture of you and then just to explain a little bit about you specifically. So let me actually read what you have here so I better understand what you put. So here I am blabbing on about, the fact that you do journals, and I'm just now figuring out in reading this that it sounds like you have other items, customer stationery, etc. You talked here about desks. I'm like, where is she going with this? I don't really understand, because your niche seems to be journals and everything that would come from that, the benefits of that. So I guess I'm just a little thrown off in reading this and feeling like I missed the boat on what you're all about in terms of the products, because this makes me wonder, well, are these just decorative? Did I misunderstand what she's doing here? As I look at your homepage, it makes me second guess myself, and I'll go back and look. But so I would just figure out what it is you want to focus on and accentuate that here. And again, tell some of your story too. Let us connect with you as well. Okay, let's go back and look. So, inspired accessory. I know you say accessories, but as I mentioned earlier, I was thrown off by that because I'm just seeing journals. Everything here says journals to me. So I may be just totally missing the boat, but if I am, Krit, that means other people are too. Yeah, so I guess it just leaves me kind of wondering what it is that you're wanting to focus on. In my mind, your website is beautifully set up to sell journals, and if that's what you're doing, then I would make your about page really focus on that, because that is your bread and butter. That's what it is that you do. So I would focus on that. So, okay, last thing that I want to mention is, let me just show you one thing real quick. If you go to my site, it's groovejar.com. It's the blog, so blog.groovejar.com, or you can go to groovejar.com and click on the blog. This post right here, how to boost your conversion rate with a killer first impression, is a post that I wrote recently about what makes a good first impression, what people are looking for, and how that relates to conversion rate. So I have some examples that are good and some examples that are bad, so you might find that useful. And the one thing I wanted to mention last as well is, especially if you have 5,000 uniques a month, if you think about it, the most valuable commodity is people's attention. When they come on your site, they're giving you a gift by their attention. The only way you have to recapture their attention is if you have a way to reach out to them. An email address is a great example of this. Otherwise, when they're gone, they're gone. You don't have any way to proactively reach out to them. So I highly, highly recommend that you start collecting their email addresses and marketing to those leads. My company, GrooveJar, has a a pop-up that collects email addresses, and we have a really high conversion rate because it's based on a countdown timer. It's called Groove Urgent. Another great company is Privy. They have a lot of great tools. And then Sumo Me is another one that has a lot of great tools. Regardless of who you use, I suggest that you just do it and start collecting these email addresses immediately and then working to market to those emails. Because otherwise you're just leaving money on the table by not collecting that, by not being able to re-engage your visitors. So, all right, Krit, that's it. Let me know if you have any specific questions or if you want to take a deeper dive on anything else. I'm happy to help. Take care.